Welcome back, friends. On the 1.4 update for global for Persona 5X, we got a new feature for growing your characters called Minescape. Now, if you've watched my build guides, I've been calling this mental image. So if you're wondering, exactly how to build for specific characters, just know that I've already kind of released information for the guys I've done so far, and I'll continue to do so. But this system does have expansions later, and the resources to use the system are pretty darn limited. And so what I'll do in this video for you today is show you on my care account where you actually get these resources, how sparse they kind of are, and why you don't want to necessarily just jump feet first in and giving this to everybody just for the sake of it. A like and a sub on the way in would be helpful, and let's just dive right in. So the Minescape is on the character sheet if you haven't seen it yet, and basically it's just a new advancement path. So the upper level here is what's unlocked for us today. Originally this came with, I think, 3.0, and so we got this quite a bit early, and it's pretty straightforward. You get these little stars, so these Stardust shards, and you use them to unlock these different attributes. So as you go up, you can see extra HP, extra defense, so forth and so on. Pretty straightforward. On the bottom side, you can't see it yet, and this is what I'll show you on the other client, but these are to enhance specific stats like crit, for example, or skills and highlights. The middle one is more like life, so like your health. And so these resources, particularly the rainbow versions, so the highest tier versions, get very, very sparse and are locked behind what is possibly the hardest mode or close enough to it, especially if you're not building a wide roster. And that's what we call the Astrolabe. So I will show that to you as well, but just so you know what it looks like on our global version, this is what I'm talking about here. So let me switch over to my KR account. Here we go. And I'm going to show you the same thing. So in the KR account, I can actually show you what happens for that inner track. So I'll go right back to Makoto. You can see she's just about fully unlocked for me. And so up here, again, same thing, nothing has changed. But down here, you can see 20% increased offense, upgrades to pulse strike and highlight, extra life and armor and attack. Then you've got increased critical chance, and this is for a couple of her skills. So these all have tiers. This is not a one and done. You can see that this goes up to 5, this goes up to 12, but these resources, you don't get a lot of them. So for example, you can see I've got these rainbow whatever tier balls. It was a 12-year-old moment there. And if I go to someone I haven't necessarily leveled up, let's go over to Vino. I can show you what this will look like as you go through. So now if I go down to this particular thing here, it's an increase in effect. By getting this far, I can now use this. You have to get to that track to even use it. And you use these kind of gold versions, then move into the purple one. So I'm just going to waste a couple on her just to show you. And so your first level, your second level, you can see these are scaling up very, very fast. I'm losing a bunch of resources right now. And then you go into the purple. And there's different types as well. So it's not just, one type. We've got these bottles, the balls, the bells, and then the bottles and those again. So these are the resources. And even with me saving some, you can just see how limited they can be. Now, let me talk to you about where to get these, because I don't want you coming in thinking you're going to have like a plethora of these. They really are pretty rare. So the first place is going to be on your 5-star characters. Later on, they'll add an update to where when you level up your characters, just like you got cards, when you get all the way up to 80, you get a rainbow mat of each. So at level 75, you get a bottle. Level 80, you get, one of these crystals. And so that is for your 5 stars only. If I show you a 4-star, you're going to notice I don't get those rewards. So 5 stars only. So it's already limited on the character at that point. But you get a couple in there. If you look at the battle pass, they will eventually add in the tracks the bells. Bells aren't quite as limited. They're fairly decent. And then you will see they kind of go up on the bottom path if you are, doing both tracks. So, you've paid for your upgrade or whatever you want to call it. And you're going to see them popping in down here pretty regularly as you go through the leveling paths. And then you'll start getting the Stardust shards, or glitter mercury as they call it in this other version. So you do get a little bit in your battle pass itself, but you're going to notice you're not seeing, necessarily the bottles and the crystals. So again, you're still not finding those there. And even if I look at the fully upgraded pass, you don't get any. So they're not in there. So there's nothing to get there. Another place that you're going to see these added, and this is a really nice change, is going to be in the Velvet Room Trials. So now if I come into the rewards, if I go through any one of these paths and I come down, you're going to start seeing the gold ones. So again, we're still not finding rainbows. This will get you a couple levels into the particular stat or whatever you want to level up, but you're not getting all the way up because there's no rainbows. But as you clear these out, you start getting more. And so when they kick this in, you'll get a whole bunch if you've already done a bunch of these tracks. So that's, pretty nice. And then same thing, if I look at the technician stages, you'll have them in here as well, and they'll add joy coins later. They will also expand this. So this will go up to level 40, I think it is. Yeah, that goes up to level 40. I haven't even cleared all mine. But you'll get more stages, more rewards. So you get some of the gold mats from Velvet Trials. So another reason to use it. And in case you're wondering, they actually launched us with all 420 stars here. And so there's no new tracks when it comes down to this. So that's another place that you get them. And then the real place that you're going to get these, besides occasionally you might see something in a special event, maybe like an anniversary or something, is the new feature Astrolabe. Now this is not in global yet. You've probably heard me talk about it before though. And in Astrolabe, this is the content that gives you the rainbow ones. And the way that this works is for each season, as they call it, you have a constellation. So this is our current constellation right now. And as you go through it, you complete battles to get rewards. And so, for example, I have this one cleared and it gave me some of the gold bottles. If I come over here, there's more. There's some of the bottles and the crystals. And then on these bigger nodes, you start getting the purple mats. So if we count this out on this constellation, we have 1, nothing there, 3, 4, so 5 crystal balls for the entire season. It's not a lot. So, and you have to beat this. And that's a big thing there too. So when you hear me talk about Minescape, or I've been calling it mental image, and you hear me talking about, which skills to use first and what to prioritize and everything else, I'm calling that out because you don't get a lot of these things. This truly is like an end game sort of a thing. Now, I'm anticipating this might come early, considering we got the rest of Mindscape early. Maybe they launched this before 3.0. Who knows? But I want you to be prepared when that happens. Now, for the actual globe, lab, whatever they call it, something to know is it really wants you to have a variety of characters. So you'll see this first node, Defiance, increased the final damage dealt by Phantom Thieves by 60%. So this is showing me my single target. Let's see, Nuclear, Psi, Blessing, Support increases final damage dealt. So they want you to have these types of characters. This is an AoE one. And so each of these stages is asking for you to have a different kind of condition met to do the most effective damage. And within these, if I were to say, click on this one, you're going to notice something that when I go to my characters, it gives me a counter. So I can only use Minami 4 times. I can only use Joker 4 times. So I can't pull my one amazing team and have them run through all these different battles. First of all, they're not going to get all the conditions. Second of all, I'll eventually run out of use cases for them. This has also got its own energy system that refills over time. So you can kind of see it in here. It increases every 7 days. Max number of all kaiju challenges is 4, so that's your characters. And your final cap is 17. So you kind of want to be working on this throughout the season for however long that season might be open. But you really do have to come in here and say, this is a level 82 stage that wants a character with whatever this effect is. I'm not sure what chemical effect means. I'd have to go check the translations. Or you'd come over here and say same thing. This one has this team that it wants and it's all level 82s and it's AoE. And so I think that says shadow, so maybe that's a curse thing. I don't know. These translations are rough. But in any case, you would come in here and kind of plan out your hardest battles, and then you fill in your slots for everything else. It's not uncommon in this mode for me to perhaps not use a navigator on an early stage, or maybe only use lower level characters. Like down here, I could have probably just come through here and used actually like a Tomoko and a Riddle kind of a thing. So there are use cases for like your characters that you think don't get much play. You can find ways to use them in here. But you're still, even if you clear this out every season, you're still only getting a handful of rewards for these upper level rewards. And so pay attention to that. Now, as far as if I go back into the character sheet here, in case you're wondering, since we do have the upper track on global right now, I took down the math here. It's 7,850 of these star shard things, whatever they're called, to complete your upper path. So it does take some time to save these up. Now, again, those are a bit more common. They get added, as time goes on for the game, but just be very, very careful. These shops don't get updated to give you any more of those rare rewards. So it truly is something to think about. Don't rush into it. The power spikes are nice, but prioritize. Now that might lead you to the question of, well, who should I prioritize? For me, it's pretty straightforward. Go with your big damage dealers. Give them increases to their big damage. I just want to finish hers out. Sorry, that was bothering me. Give them the big increases, because this is going to do stuff like, increase your highlight damage, increase your damage to a particular skill that you're using. You don't have to do everything. So for example, with Makoto, you're going to focus on things like your skill 3 and your highlights, as well as, your critical chance. But think about damage first, really bump them up. You might also want to look at, does one of your key supports have a track that has good stats for you? Now, I've not optimized my stuff in here, but something like this, you might look at and be like, oh, I use Cord all the time. Maybe I should update hers. This is very much going to depend on your roster, who you've pulled, who you're using, who you love. And then other people can wait. Like, don't go randomly throwing stuff at some character you pulled on a Thursday. Really think about, if I put one of my few of these resources into, say, Leo, what is the return I'm getting versus, 10% more damage or 20% more crits or whatever for this other character that's going to be nuking out, the enemy. So think about prioritizing your DPS first, and then maybe if you have extras, go into your very core supports. Or there's absolutely nothing wrong with just saving the materials, because they're going to release new characters. How nice would it be when Violet comes out if you could max her out? Or how nice would it be when Barry comes out if you could max her out? Think of it that way as well. You don't have to spend these resources. So anyways, that's my, sneak peek into the system, into where you get the different resources, how limited they are, a little bit about the Astrolabe trials. So, the point I want you to take home is be careful with these resources. They will dry out incredibly quick. You don't have a lot of opportunities to get them unless they change something in global. So don't rush down this decision. But when you're ready to spend, focus on your core DPS first, the ones you're getting the most use out of. Look, if you found this helpful, like and sub would tremendously help the channel. Trying to get to 10K by the end of the year. And my friends, until our next video or live stream, please take care of yourselves.